Hollywood's golden age wasn't just about beauty, fame, and silver screen perfection. It was also filled with unexpected love stories. Behind the dazzling lights, some of the era's most famous leading men chose partners who defied the industry's obsession with glamour. These 10 marriages reveal a hidden truth. Even in a world built on appearance, real connection often came in the most surprising forms. 1. Anthony Quinn and Katherine DeMille. Ambition over attraction. Anthony Quinn, known for his primal screen presence and rugged magnetism, shocked Hollywood when he married Katherine DeMille, the adopted daughter of the legendary director Cecil B. DeMille. The union seemed less a romance and more a strategic merger. Quinn's heritage and fiery temperament often kept him outside Hollywood's elite circles, while Katherine's name opened doors that might have otherwise stayed closed. Yet her appearance drew relentless sniping. Described as stern and severe, Katherine had features critics claimed could freeze a charging bull. For an actor associated with raw sensuality, the match appeared mismatched at best. The truth, however, was simpler. Quinn sought power, not glamour. Katherine's lineage gave him legitimacy in a world that still viewed him as an outsider. Their marriage functioned as a transaction both fully understood. Behind the scenes, Quinn's infidelities were an open secret. While Katherine maintained a stoic public image and raised their children, he pursued affairs that eventually produced more offspring. Once Quinn achieved the fame he'd craved, the relationship lost its purpose. Their 1965 divorce quietly closed a chapter that had begun as Hollywood's most transparent alliance of ambition over attraction. 2. Peter Lorre and Celia Lovsky, the mentor and the misfit. Before he became cinema's master of unease, Laurier was a struggling actor guided by his former teacher, Celia Lovsky. Their marriage defied every Hollywood convention of beauty and glamour. Laurier's round, anxious face and bulging eyes already set him apart, but Lovsky's sharp, angular features made her look more like a character from Gothic theater than a movie spouse. What outsiders mocked as the creature and his creator was, in truth, a deep partnership built on intellect and loyalty. Lovsky had discovered Laurier in Vienna and shaped his artistry before Hollywood ever noticed him. When his addiction threatened to end his career, it was Lovsky who managed his contracts, confronted studios, and pulled him back from self-destruction. While gossip columnists mocked their looks, insiders knew they shared a bond few film couples ever achieved, a collaboration grounded in artistic respect rather than image. Their marriage didn't survive forever, but their connection did. Even after divorce, Lovsky remained his protector and confidant, proving that in a city obsessed with appearance, some bonds are built on something real. 3. Spencer Tracy and Louise Treadwell, the hidden wife. To the public, Spencer Tracy's great love was Katharine Hepburn, but behind the myth was a woman Hollywood almost erased, his wife, Louise Treadwell. Married long before fame found him, Treadwell was plain, proper, and partially deaf, qualities that made her invisible in a town that prized glamour. As Tracy's career soared, MGM's publicity machine worked tirelessly to suppress her existence. Treadwell rarely appeared in photographs, and her absence was explained away with whispers about privacy. The studio needed Tracy to appear unattached for his romantic on-screen roles and for the legend of his affair with Hepburn to thrive. Away from the spotlight, Louise dedicated her life to helping deaf children, channeling the pain of raising their hearing-impaired son into advocacy and education. She and Tracy lived separate lives for decades, connected by faith and financial support, but divided by Hollywood's need for illusion. When she appeared at his funeral, many mourners didn't even recognize her, a silent witness to a truth the studios had buried for years. 4. Ernest Borgnine and Donna Rancourt, the real deal. Ernest Borgnine never looked like a matinee idol. His gap-toothed grin and rugged face made him an unlikely romantic lead, yet his Oscar win for Marty proved talent could outshine looks. After a string of short-lived marriages to glamorous women, Ernest Borgnine stunned Hollywood when he married Donna Rancourt, a woman as un-Hollywood as they come. Rancourt's plain appearance drew cruel jokes from gossip writers who couldn't believe a star would choose someone so ordinary. But their 40-year marriage endured long after his showy unions had collapsed. Ernest Borgnine had finally found comfort and companionship, not competition for the spotlight. Unlike other studios that tried to polish a star's spouse, no one attempted to glamorize Rancourt. Their relationship stood as a quiet rebellion against the industry's obsession with beauty. In time, even the critics softened. Together, they became a rare Hollywood couple who grew old with grace, proof that sincerity lasts longer than sparkle. 5. Wallace Beery and Rita Gilman, the monster and the mouse. Few men in Hollywood were as feared as Wallace Beery. On screen, he played lovable grumps, but off-camera, he was notoriously cruel. So when he married Rita Gilman, a shy, unremarkable woman who seemed lost among the glittering elite, even studio executives were stunned. Gilman wasn't famous or connected, and her looks drew unkind whispers. Yet perhaps that was the point. Beery, the industry's resident brute, never cared for appearances. The marriage lasted 15 years, during which Gilman reportedly endured emotional torment. By the time she filed for divorce in 1939, claiming extreme cruelty, no one doubted her. Even MGM executives, usually eager to protect a star, let the scandal run its course. Gilman disappeared quietly from Hollywood's radar afterwards, leaving behind one of the strangest pairings in film history, a woman too plain for the limelight, and a man too vicious for it. 6. James Mason and Pamela Mason. Beauty yields to intellect. James Mason's hypnotic voice and brooding good looks made him a favorite of female audiences. Yet Pamela was no screen siren. Sharp-featured, outspoken, and fiercely intelligent, she defied Hollywood's definition of beauty. Pamela was a writer, not an ornament, and she refused to play the submissive spouse expected of actors' wives. At parties, she dominated conversations while her husband fetched drinks, a reversal that unsettled Hollywood's patriarchal order. She once quipped that she lacked beauty but possessed enough brains to make up for 2 actresses. The marriage lasted more than 20 years, fueled by wit, combat, and deep respect. Their arguments were as legendary as their affection. When the union finally ended, Pamela's sharp tongue turned divorce hearings into theater. Even so, she remained the only woman who truly matched Mason, not in looks, but in intellect. 7. Humphrey Bogart and Mayo method. The battling Bogarts. Before Humphrey Bogart met the radiant Lauren Bacall, his love life was anything but glamorous. His marriage to Mayo method was infamous for its volatility. Industry insiders called them the battling Bogarts, and their fights were Hollywood legend. Method, whose rough looks and explosive temper earned her the nickname Sluggy, once attacked Bogart with a knife during a drunken argument. Studios scrambled to keep her out of the press, fearing her appearance and her behavior might tarnish Bogart's tough guy mystique. When Bogart eventually left Method for the luminous Lauren Bacall, the industry breathed a collective sigh of relief. The beauty restored the order narrative suited Hollywood perfectly. But the Bogart Method years revealed a hidden truth. Even the most glamorous stars sometimes lived lives as messy and violent as the characters they played. 8. Charles Laughton and Elsa Lanchester. Eccentric royalty. Charles Laughton, master of character roles, was never cast for his looks. With his jowls, bulging eyes, and expressive face, he embodied imperfection. His wife, Elsa Lanchester, was equally unconventional, famously playing the Bride of Frankenstein with electrified hair and wide-eyed intensity. Together, they became Hollywood's most eccentric couple. What many didn't know was that their marriage served a quiet purpose. Laughton was gay, and Lanchester's companionship gave him both cover and comfort. Rather than pretend to be glamorous, they embraced their oddity, turning it into art. Publicists stopped trying to make them photogenic and instead marketed them as the industry's most interesting pair. Their union lasted 30 years, sustained by honesty and affection rather than pretense. In a world built on illusion, they managed the rarest trick of all, being exactly who they were.
Number 9. George C. Scott and Colleen Dewhurst, the Titans of Talent. George C. Scott and Colleen Dewhurst looked less like movie stars and more like forces of nature. He with his clenched-jawed intensity, she with her strong features and commanding voice. Beauty wasn't their currency, brilliance was. They met through the theater, bonded by their mutual love for performance, and married twice, divorcing and remarrying before finally parting for good. Their relationship was volcanic, filled with fierce arguments and equal passion. They looked carved from granite, one colleague said, but together they could shake the earth. In an industry obsessed with superficial perfection, Scott and Dewhurst represented something radical, two artists who valued talent over appearance. Their on-again, off-again marriage proved that chemistry doesn't require glamour, only shared fire. Number 10. Mickey Rooney and Jan Chamberlain, The Last Act. Mickey Rooney's romantic life was a Hollywood timeline of decline, from marrying the dazzling Ava Gardner to ending his days with Jan Chamberlain, a woman the tabloids unkindly described as decidedly unglamorous. By the time they wed in 1978, Rooney's career had faded, and his youthful charm was long gone. Yet his 8th marriage became his longest and happiest. Chamberlain, with her simple manner and small-town warmth, offered the stability he had never found with his ex-wives. No publicists tried to polish their image, no stylists hovered nearby. They simply lived. For once, the actor who'd spent a lifetime chasing beauty and fame found peace with ordinariness. When he died in 2014, Chamberlain was by his side. Proof that love, stripped of Hollywood illusion, can still endure. These 10 marriages, spanning the glittering decades of Hollywood's golden age, expose the industry's uneasy relationship with beauty. Behind every crafted image and polished publicity photo were real people, actors who sometimes chose comfort, intellect, or strategy over glamour. For every headline romance built on looks, there were quiet partnerships built on loyalty or necessity. Studios tried to hide plain spouses and reshape reality to maintain illusions of perfection. Yet these couples, mismatched, controversial, or simply authentic, reveal something deeper. In the end, even in an industry obsessed with beauty, it wasn't always the prettiest marriages that lasted. Sometimes the ones mocked for their appearances held together the longest, proving that even in Hollywood, what endures isn't the face in the photograph, but the person behind it.